morning! Welcome to Voice of the Parrot. I'm your host, Shasta Ray, and once again I am coming to you live, pre-recorded from the bird room. I've got a cast of everybody, even the giant dog is here. Oh my goodness, he is doing a slumber party again this weekend. Yay for giant dog. Okay, how is everybody? How have you been? This has been interesting. So, I've got this little really awesome condenser mic that I like to use up here, and I could not figure out where I stashed it. I packed it away somewhere, and I haven't been able to figure out where I put it. So, as it turned out, they had a clearance sale on the exact same one, and then I had some credit online. So I ended up getting the same exact one. It came here in the mail a couple days ago, and I ended up paying about $5 out of pocket. So this is a test on my new little condenser mic that I like to use in here because I think it picks up the birds pretty good. And maybe if Emmy starts talking, she'll get picked up, and we're going to talk about her. So it'd be really cute. She's got the cutest little voice. Oh my gosh, she has a cute little voice. So hopefully she'll say something and we can pick that up. Oh my gosh. So how is everybody? Have you been hanging out with your birds? You've been doing anything with your birds? Researching them? Rescuing them? What are you doing with them? Feeding them good? Oh my gosh. Holy cow. So I had another sale on the stovetop bird buffet cook and serve product today off of wingmanbirdsupply.com. Thank you for your purchase. And yeah, that's awesome. I also have had a non-website sale of my sprout kits. So I've got all the components to them. I'm compiling that right now. I'm putting it together. I have not taken pictures yet, but I am setting up for photography. And if you are interested in sprouting fresh greens for your bird that they will eat, it is geared towards the smaller beaks. So any kind of bird that goes really crazy over millet, this is who this is geared at. So this is going to be your finches, canaries, budgies, parrotlets, lovebirds, cockatiels, your small conures, probably your Indian ringnecks, probably your Alexandrins, someone small like Emmy, a Hans macaw, tiny little itty-bitty macaw, some of those. I'm probably forgetting some, but you get the idea. If your bird goes crazy and its food is comprised with a fair amount of millet in its seed mix, then this is for you. I'm going to be putting together another seed mix that will work with the same system. I just haven't formulated it yet or done any testing, obviously. But anyway, here's what you get. I've got two different sprout kit options, and one is a single jar that's a little bit larger with an awesome sprouting lid attachment and a drip tray, and it's very, very vertical. So some of them sit at an angle, and then you have to have this big rectangular tray or put it on a plate or something. This doesn't do that. It takes up a smaller footprint on your counter. It's very easy. And you don't have to do much to rinse and put it back. And you only need to rinse it. They say twice a day. I advise 3 times a day. So that's my advice personally. Be looking for a how-to video and be looking for that to appear soon in the wingmanbirdsupply.com website inventory. Yay! I am so excited to bring that to you. I have been researching this for well over a year. Actually, let me retract that. I have been actually researching this in one form or another since shortly after I got Zoltan. And I'm almost coming up on 3 years of Zoltan. And I've just never really found anything I was happy with. Everything works technically, but some stuff is just better than others as to sprouts for small birds. And a lot of it is geared towards lots of sprouts all at once. So it's just overkill, or it's messy, or it's an eyesore, or something. There's something wrong with it for these little tiny birds. So nothing was satisfactory to me when I was first getting into Zoltan and Aggie and then Cricket and Moose. And I was like, they're too tiny. You get too much going on. You can't use it all. blah, blah, blah. You get it. So then my other kit that I have, I call it a dual jar system. So the jars are smaller and you can do a smaller quantity at once. Get one going, and after about the second day, start your next jar, and you can always have a cycle going on. And it's a wonderful thing. Very, very easy. And you will be harvesting sprouts. Honestly, at the 48-hour mark, you can start feeding it to your birds. The 3-day mark is primo. That is perfect. But you can still feed it to them for a few days after that. They'll still nibble on it. They'll still eat it. They'll still chew on it, play with it, all sorts of stuff. So check it out when I get that in there. I'll make sure that you hear it first here. Oh my gosh. Isn't this exciting? Yay. So next we're going to be offering I guess it would be considered a medium beak bird mix. And I would call it kind of on the middle of the line. It's very functional. It works. The birds love it. Oh my gosh, they love it. And it's for birds like Emmy, mini macaw. You would want it for your African greys, your really large conures, birds like that. And it's got some fruit in it. It's got some seeds that appeal to the kind of medium-sized birds. So I'll be offering that coming up here very soon. Here, again, I got to get the photography complete on that, and I'm setting up to do that in the next few days. So hopefully I'll have that listed here very shortly. Yay! Cannot wait. Okay, so I have had some things come across my internet news feed, stuff like that. I've seen it in groups, and I don't think I presented it last year for the holidays safety episode, so I want to do a little bit of a follow-up and add some stuff to be aware of as we approach the holiday season that can be toxic to your birds. And oh my gosh, I bought some of this myself, not realizing it, so it went in the garbage. Never used it yet. Bought it the other day. Don't know where the receipt is. Didn't pay that much. No big deal. So the first one on the list, and the biggest one, and I had no clue. I've used these for years, but I don't really cook for myself like this anymore. So I haven't used one since I got birds. Thank goodness, right? But I guess this is extremely toxic. Extremely toxic. So listen up. Are you familiar with cooking chickens or turkey or even roasts, any of that, in the baking bags? And they're a big plastic bag that you can put your turkey in, and you tie it shut. It comes with the little ties, and it does a lovely, amazing job of cooking your turkey. Oh my gosh, I've used these for probably going on 30 years or so. And here again, I just don't cook whole turkeys or chickens for myself. And when I do feel in the mood for something of that nature, I go get a rotisserie chicken and I'm happy with it. So I haven't had the need. Anyway, I guess those baking bags are highly, highly toxic to your birds. Like, it can kill them right then and there when you're using them. So don't risk it. Just toss them. Give them to your friends that might use them that don't have birds. And that tells me it's not good for our respiratory systems either. Even if it doesn't kill us, it's still not good for you. So just go back to the old-fashioned way. Get a roasting pan, something of that nature, and do it the right way, okay? You won't regret it. Or if you're someone that has one of those deep fryers, but make sure you're doing it safely because that can be a fire hazard. So never use one indoors. Make sure you have fire extinguishers, and make sure you understand liquid dissipation with the turkey in, so that when you lower it in the hot grease, it doesn't overflow. So there's a trick to that. It's very simple, but anyway. All right, moving right along. Starting with the Thanksgiving season on into the Christmas and various holidays this time of year. No disrespect to anyone, but there's just tons of them. But Christmas is the big one in the United States. And on into, let's just go into February, where you're going to have a lot of different candies and stuff going on for Valentine's Day. So in the upcoming months, all the different holidays that focus on candies and goodies and stuff. Chocolate is not good for birds, so do not let your birds get into your chocolate. Be selfish, keep all your chocolate to yourself. It's okay. Next, peanut butter is used in lots of different candies, especially in the December winter holiday traditions. And oh my gosh, it's delicious. And anyone that engages in homemade Christmas goodies might be using peanut butter. So just a reminder, I mentioned this last year, but I can never say it too often, is they're trying to be able to brag on labels sugar-free. So if it's sugar-free, you have to look at the label. Don't just assume it's strictly peanuts ground up into peanut butter. It could be sweetened with xylitol, and that's spelt with a letter X, Y, XYL, xylitol. I think it's XYLITOL, xylitol. But people were starting to not buy stuff because of it being toxic to dogs, cats, birds, pets of any sort. Which means, is it good for us? So they start getting tricky and they rename stuff. And now they're calling it birch sugar. BIRCH, like the tree, birch sugar. And that sounds very natural. It sounds very happy. It sounds very okay. It's not. It's xylitol, labeled happy. So be careful of your peanut butters. Be careful of your nut butters, your almond butters, anything that could have that in there. In fact, just look at your labels. Make sure it doesn't have xylitol or birch sugar as a sweetener, okay? And again, chocolate. And then beyond that, if you are interested in bird-safe foods, oh my goodness, I did an episode reviewing a whole bunch of different bird cookbooks and nutrition guides. Most of them are extremely affordable and easily found on Amazon. And some of them have been out long enough you can get the used copies very, 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 very inexpensively. So go back and look that up. It was a review on nutrition guides or review on bird cookbooks or something. I think I did that last spring. I can't remember when I did that. I'll have to look it up myself. Oh my gosh, we've been rolling right along. Speaking of which, oh my gosh, we just hit well over 5,000 downloads on the podcast. Yay for all of you. We've been getting new listeners on all different areas of the globe. It's been a crazy, crazy thing to watch. I love it. I love seeing our numbers go up. We had an all-time high download month of October, and we blasted past our last best month, which was months before that. So it has been fun seeing all of you joining the fun, and I have not even been posting in groups in quite some time. I haven't. So this has been organic traffic finding us, and thanks for joining the fun. It's been fun. It's been awesome. Welcome all newbies. And if you have not gone and found the YouTube channel, please do so and go hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. I really don't put out a whole lot of YouTube content. The podcast is posted there, and I need to get up to speed. I think I am missing a good solid handful of episodes on the YouTube channel. So I'm going to start releasing those over there as little audiograms for people that listen to it there and maybe don't listen to it on an app or something. So another option. And that's where you're going to see some of my demos on some of the products and stuff also. So check that out. Hit subscribe. And again, turn on the notifications. And I promise I'm not going to hammer your YouTube notifications with that. I'm just not someone that's all about having a camera in my hand at all times. You know what I mean? I got other stuff I'm doing. Okay, let's talk about Emmy the mini macaw for a little bit. I mentioned last week that she's going to be our little ambassador here for learning your birds before you get one, making sure it's a really good fit, and then just understanding them as they go through different changes, their hormones, that sort of thing. Doubling up on your diet knowledge with them, all sorts of stuff. Each species, you can have groups of birds and groups of species in the parrot area of pet ownership that have very, very, very similar dietary needs. And that's great. And then you can cross over on different species and stuff. but you still need to check and make sure if they have any kind of species-specific needs. There are some of the macaws, you have to give them certain types of nuts because their bodies depend on it. So it's very critical that you research this. So, and then your lorikeets, your lories, you never want to feed seeds to these. And I have heard over and over, people are like, what kind of seeds do you buy for those? So people just don't think, they don't look anything up, and then they go to Facebook. We're going to do some continued ongoing pros and cons of social media, the good, the bad, and the ugly with that, and how to navigate that. It's not that you shouldn't be on social media. We're all on social media. It's what you do with the content that you choose to watch and spend your time in, absorbing. So we're going to talk about that and how that ties into birds like Emmy. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect when I brought her home. I didn't know how she was going to do here. Anything. I thought there would be like a introductory period where we get to know each other and she'd want me to stay my distance and stuff. No, she's just been latched onto me. She's been the best little girl ever. She is regrowing pin feathers all over her. Every day she has more, and she's doing a good job of maintaining her feathers. She's not plucking like she was at her last home, and she's doing amazing. She talks, and there's good and bad with the talking. So let's start with the bad and just get that out of the way. I found one of her triggers for her territorial tendencies. That's okay. That's a learning experience. I made sure I didn't react, and I kind of rearranged her cage a little bit, and then I made sure that I can navigate her cage when I need to without, triggering her where she's going to charge my hand or anything. Well, in doing that, she started screaming at me, and what I realized she was screaming was, "Go away." And she was screaming it like a really agitated human might scream it at a bird. So she's been yelled at. If she had that yelled at her enough that she makes that association and says it that clearly, oh my goodness, that broke my heart. How could anyone scream at a little bird like this to the point she picks it up to that degree? And at the same time, I was kind of glad she did it, because in doing so, she communicated her past to me in kind of a weird way. So I understood her a little bit better in that moment. And there's been one night that she was climbing around on her cage, and she was on one side and she was looking at me, and she was just being so cute with her antics, and I just reached up and touched her toe. And oh my God, the reactiveness to this bird of just, like, it was her toenail. It wasn't even her toe. I was like, oh, you've got the cutest little feet. Holy cow. This bird went into Tyrannosaurus Rex mode. Wow. And, I really believe that she was picked on and yelled at, and whoever had her just got bored with her, and she was a chore, maybe. I think she was left in her cage a lot, and when she's on my shoulder, she's extraordinarily reactive. So I think she's been manhandled. She's terrified of towels. I found that out just when I was just moving stuff around and putting it in my laundry bin. And she got just terrified because I was putting a towel in the laundry. And I didn't even think that she was on my shoulder. So I think she's been toweled a lot as a means of handling her. And in 2.5 weeks' time, she has gotten so much more relaxed with being on my shoulder. She's starting to step up without biting or having that reactiveness. And I've even been able to touch her toes very, very gently a few times. She's starting to really trust me. She climbs down into my lap every day and wants to be pet and preened. And she's just totally amazing. I cannot fathom how anyone could fail this bird. She's not a difficult bird to own. So you just gotta be kind to her, and she's kind in return. And then furthermore, what's really interesting about her, she's so intelligent. She seems to know that I'm making a really hard effort to make sure she's happy and we're getting along well and I'm treating her really nice and stuff. And it's just very apparent in her interactions that she's trying just as hard. Very intelligent little crazy little bird. She's so cute. The past couple of days, she started playing with small little toys that I've had out. She's ventured off of my shoulder a little bit by choice. And yeah, she's not scared of things or anything. And now she's starting to follow me and climb around on her cage. No matter what side of her cage she's on, she wants to be by me. It's been a pretty incredible experience. I just can't imagine ignoring this bird to the point she was plucking like she was originally. But she is doing a fantastic job of maintaining those feathers. I cannot imagine how uncomfortable this poor little bird is. Holy cow. But then I found another kind of interesting little breakthrough. I like peanut butter myself. Like I mentioned, peanut butter for the safety warning. So I was getting a snack the other day. She was on my shoulder, and she's had a little word that I could not understand. I thought it was a variant of, she says the word water. And she has a word that sounds kind of like water, but not really. Haven't been able to figure out what it is. So anyway, I had the peanut butter jar out, and she went out of her mind when she saw it and started repeating the word. And the word is butter. So she's starting to really trying to communicate to me. And peanut butter, turns out, is a great training tool for her because I can get a little dab of it on my finger and just let her lick it once or twice, and she gets her little fix and she wants more, and she's not going to fill up on it very quickly. So we've been playing with that with training just a little bit here and there, not every day, but she seems to be enjoying it. So we've been doing step-up games and some easy stuff, and that's been a lot of fun for her, I think, too. And then last but not least, she's actually relatively a quiet bird. She can let out some pretty loud squawks. Sometimes in the morning she gets a little bit on the vocal end of things. And if I'm out of a room or out of her sight for too long, she'll get vocal. Usually if she knows I'm in the house, she's pretty good with it. She knows when I pull up in the driveway, when I've been away from the house, I can hear her start squawking when I get out of the truck. And that's been kind of interesting too. So she's been a wonderful little bird. And I would say anybody that's interested in getting kind of a smallish bird, but not a tiny bird, and you're interested in macaws, but you don't want one of the giant macaws, this would cost you a little bit of money. These birds do, but I really like her, and I'm really glad that I have this opportunity, and I've made the decision that she's going to stay here with me. I'm going to figure out how to fund her. I am definitely going to adopt this bird. I have gotten really attached to her. And one of the challenges that's been kind of fun, actually, is equal time with Murray. Because I don't want him to feel like I'm dissing him for a new bird, right? Because they have feelings. So she kind of gets her little fix of being on my shoulder for a while, and then I put her in her cage or on a play stand or something with some food, her lunch, whatever. And then Murray gets me for a while, and then I play with Murray. And then Murray gets me in the mornings first, and then a little bit in the afternoon, and then we have some time in the evenings together. So it's been fun, and it's been challenging, but it's been very enriching, and I'm learning so much just from these birds. It's been incredible. I hope you guys will take bird ownership very, very seriously. They bond with us, and they value our friendship. They value our companionship. And if you understand them, you're not going to have too many frustrations, right? Don't let yourself escalate, because I'm going to tell you what, it was really heartbreaking for me when I realized that she was repeating back what someone had screamed at her over and over and over, and very aggressively. Like, for her to repeat this back in the way that she was screaming at me was crazy. And I was like, oh, you poor thing, how many times have you had that yelled at you? And they're very sensitive to what you're projecting at them. They know the difference between anger and happiness and sad, and if you're grieving over something, they know. They're very, very intuitive. So when you blast them with extreme anger and frustration, they're going to react similarly, or appropriately, maybe is a better word. And then back to the feet with the cage. I had to go back to what I was told, that she was biting the little kids in the house. And I thought, if she was in a cage and they were sticking their fingers in the cage, they probably got bit. Maybe they thought it was a game. Maybe they weren't intending to be like mean little kids or anything, but it could have come out the other side as antagonizing the bird and angering her, or getting her very, very defensive of her territory and her space. So I do think that it's come out in her head as being picked on at the very least, and I think she's had her patience challenged in her last home quite a lot. So then if she was reactive to everybody that way, they were reactive to her, and it was probably a downward spiral. And they probably just never took the time to get to know her, figure it out, look it up, talk to a professional, that sort of stuff. So, with that said, very long-winded way to introduce what next week's episode is so you can look forward to it. And oh my goodness, I will be having a guest on the show. We're going to talk about the advantages of hiring a behavior expert for dealing with problems with your birds. It's a beautiful thing. It might save your relationship with your bird. Holy cow, what a concept. And then you wouldn't have to get rid of it. You'd have it as your friend, and you wouldn't have that conflict. Holy cow. Let's talk about it next week, so don't forget. I'm going to have that released the day before Thanksgiving, because a good bird is something we are all thankful for. So it seems like a great time to air that. Have a good one, everyone. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.